Welcome to MathLink Academy, where we connect the dots. Well, we're looking at here, and I'm Mr. C, and I want to show you something today about order of operations with signed numbers. So let's get started. So in order to do order of operations, to simplify all the orders to get the right answer, we must understand the order of operation and how it starts off. This is something you want to put in your mind. First thing we're going to do is parentheses. If we have parentheses or brackets or curly brackets, treat them as the same. That's number one. Number two, we're going to do powers and roots or exponents. That's our second thing we're going to do when we see an order of operation or an expression we need to simplify. Number three, we're going to do multiplication and division from left to right. They have an equal weight. Multiplication and division has an equal weight. And the same thing for the last one is number four, adding and subtracting is the very last thing we're going to do when we have expressions from left to right. Again, we understand that this could be, emphasized as parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. And some people remember it as, please excuse my dear Aunt Shaniqua. So we must understand that Mr. C doesn't have an Aunt Sally. So Aunt Shaniqua is going to be what we're working with today. So let's look at a problem that we can do to simplify using the order of operations. So what we want to do, we want to evaluate this particular problem. If you want to write it down and try it before I try it, you can pause the screen and go ahead and try it. We're going to go to our whiteboard and do this particular problem to see what would be the correct answer using the order of operations. So here's our problem. And so what we want to do is follow the order of operations. Now, in this case, the first thing we're going to do is parentheses, but some of these parentheses are just talking about multiplying. But the one we want to look at is going to be this bracket. Even though we don't have directly a parentheses do anything inside the work, we're going to look at, I'm going to write this in green, the bracket here. We want to go and use and simplify what's inside the bracket first, okay? So that's the first thing we're going to do. Simplify what's in the bracket first because it's like our parentheses. So watch how I do the work here. I'm going to write down 50 because nothing wrong with 50 plus -2. And in my bracket, I'm going to put my bracket here. And inside the brackets, I'm going to do order of operation. Again, it's bracket, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So inside my bracket, I don't have necessarily parentheses work inside, but I do have the next thing, which is exponent. So I'm going to write down 6, because I'm not going to do anything with the 6, plus, now I'm going to work with this. This is the next thing. That's exponent. That's the next thing. And -2 raised to the third power. So that's -2 times -2 times -2. It's going to give me a negative number, which is a -8, if we do this correctly, times 4. And notice I'm showing my work. You may want to do the same thing. Show each step to make sure you do it correct. Now I'm still working inside the parentheses because I'm not done. Again, I'm working inside the parentheses, and inside the parentheses, I'm actually using order of operations again. So what's next? We have 6 plus a -8 times 4. So what should we do next would be the multiplication that comes before addition. So we just write down 6 plus, and then we multiply a -8 times 4, which is a -32. And then we still work inside the parentheses again. And then we add 6 plus a -32, which gives us a -26. Now, we're done with everything inside the parentheses. I'm keeping it as a bracket. You know, the parentheses and the bracket are pretty much the same. Now we got 50 plus a -2 times a -26. Now, since we got multiplication, that comes before addition. So I'm gonna write down 50 plus, and then I'm gonna multiply this -2 times a -26. Now, since both numbers are negative, my answer will be positive. And in that case, we're gonna write this. I'm gonna write this as 50, a positive 52. And then I'm gonna add 50 plus 52, and I think that's 102. And then that would be our answer for this problem. So now let's look at another problem and do order of operations. Again, in this case, we have parentheses, but some of those parentheses just indicates operation, like multiplication. So what I'm going to do is work inside the bracket and treat that like a parentheses. Now, inside of that, I'm going to do order of operations, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, adding, subtracting. In this case, since I don't have no more parentheses to work inside, I'm going to do my exponent. That'll be my next step. That's step 2. So I'm going to write down my work and show it. So this will be a -2. I'll keep the parentheses for that to show it's -2. And it'll be 7 minus, and this would be 4, that's 2 squared, times 3, minus 4. Again, we're going to continue to work inside the bracket. First thing we're going to do here is be the multiplication piece. So it'll be 7 minus 4 times 3 is 12. Now let's continue to work inside that bracket, inside the parentheses. We're still working inside that to get rid of that. And so this will give me 7 minus 12, which should be a negative number. In our case, it'd be -5 minus 4. Now, what do we do next? We got a multiplication and we also got a subtraction. So in this case, we do the multiplication first. So this will be a positive 10. Those two negative multiply be a positive minus 4. And then we just do that. And then it gives us 6. So our final answer will be 6. Now, I would say go back and look at this video if you have any questions, or look at some of our supplementary material that we have for order of operation on our MathLink Academy website. Again, I want to say thank you for watching this MathLink video.